that's his background.
Can't just
Right.
too short.
Yeah. Well, too short a run?
What is wrong with the camera now?
Wrong with the
It's less than 300 feet in any direction. Well, from the basement.
I don't know what's wrong with the camera. No, it shouldn't be that way though. And I want to. Nope, it's completely mirror. I think it's because I've got an extended. Yeah. No, that just looks goofy. All right. We'll start with Mike. So Mike has been upgrading. Everyone just heard that he's our technology manager here at the church, and he's been upgrading our internet in the building, trying to uncomplicate it. And as probably all of you know, when you try to uncomplicate things that have been in place for a while, there's hiccups along the road. And so we're working through those, but he's established some Wi-Fi networks throughout the building to kind of unify the building. And so now there will be a staff network and a guest network. And currently we still have the old system up and running right now, which is what you're all connected to. But he's going to talk to you about connecting to the new guest network, which really does work this time. Yeah, the FLC Guest 1A. And so he's going to talk about that.
Why do we need two separate ones?
Mike is the perfect person to answer
I'll
that question.
explain all that. I guess I should say, I'll tell you the locations that we're going to start out with. Right now, I have wiring to do the one near the offices, and I have wiring near Faith Hall to do that. I have to provide wiring for the one I'm going to put in the sanctuary, and also for one that will go down the hall towards Faith Hall. So I'm putting 4 in right now, and then later on, when we find the dead spots, we'll add or move to accommodate those places. But for right now, I think that'll pretty much cover it for the areas of assembly and meetings. So now, the reason there are 2, actually these things that I'm putting up on the ceiling can do 6 actual networks or logons. I'm only using 2, and incidentally, these things are rated for business service, not residential service, so they're more robust. The reason for 2 is when you log on with a computer for a guest in a guest network, you don't want a guest to be able to look at or look into other computers or print to a printer that would be accessible. So in the guest network, you're redirected straight to the internet.
Straight to the internet?
Yes. Okay. There's and also in a guest network, you only get 1 hour, then you have to log in again, because there's no point in having people outside on and guessing what the password is or whatever. We're going to cut them off and have them reinitialize. So that's the theory behind that. We can adjust it as time goes on, but for the start out period, I think that's most appropriate. Okay? Then the staff network, which has a different password, can see everything on the network, everything. Can see the printer, can see the other printers, other computers. They can't get into those computers because it requires remote desktop to get through them. But so you have more flexibility and it's just like being on a wired network. So that's the difference in gas and staff.
So what's the range of the routers you're using for these?
It's not a longer, it's called access.
Okay, well, what's the range of it? Is it across the street, 1,000 feet down?
Well, I have the ability to control it.
Okay,
I can cut the range down. Right now, I got about 2 bars out in from the one here.
There's one right down outside Kathy's office in the city.
I'm not running the full time. I've cut it down 6 points. There's 26 points of power, and I've chopped 6 of those points off.
but I live very close and I've never seen anybody parked out in here in the evenings or the mornings, purposely just using your Wi-Fi. But I'm sure it could be done, and I could see why you'd want to change it so that they couldn't sit out there at midnight and start using your printer here, which is the reason for the change. That they couldn't get into what they printed, but they could still play. Yeah. So anyway, I understand why you're doing it. It's good.
Mike will, eventually I would like to see a system here where people on their iPhone, whatever, can access maybe live sermons and things of that type, where they may be hearing impaired. Will a person sitting in the sanctuary during the service be able to use any of their devices? Such as hearing or seeing the material that's up on the screen, or being able to follow along with the sermon?
That's not really connected in right now.
Okay.
I don't know in the future, once we get this all done, yeah, we can look at stuff like that, but normally, it's my thought, you're in there in a sanctuary, not to be using a device, and excuse me if I come across wrong, it's more attention and spiritual ones than that I feel I'm in there for. I don't know about others, but
Have you got the ability to either put a timer on it or manually turn it off? So at 8:45 on Sunday until 10, and then from 11 until 12, you
I can do
turn.
it one time. So
Oh,
right now it's timed. On the guest network, you get an hour, and it shuts off. It comes on about 8 o'clock and goes off at 4 o'clock. During the day. On Saturday, it's not on.
if you allow it to be on Sunday while somebody is up there in
Yes.
front of the podium, you're going to have people playing.
I understand. I can turn it off. Like on the guest network, it isn't full blown ready to go yet. So once we get some addressing straightened out and we get more of them in place, then we'll think about the time considerations. I have different times for the staff side of the fence. I can do different times, but I can only do them, I can't break them in segments during the day. So that's why I made the hours set up. I can change it down to 15 minutes if I want. And I can see all of them from one place.
I was thinking of people that are hearing impaired and have difficulty hearing the sermon, even through the PA system there. I think there's some that have difficulty.
We have hearing devices.
We do.
We
Okay.
do,
What
yeah.
is that?
It's a little, so like the little packs that we wear to use to talk through the PA system. It looks like similar to that, and then it's just a pair of headphones.
Okay.
So all you have to do, and there's a little sign, and we should probably announce it once in a while so that people are reminded of it. But all you do is you go to the sound booth, and there's 2 or 3 devices that we have that do that. And so you just put them on, there's a little volume adjustment dial on it, and You can just adjust it that way.
Now, there is, new hearing aids that are coming out with capability to talk to iPhone only through Bluetooth. And if they could pick up the audio through the network, then that would be another avenue. But right now, until we get it stable, we're not gonna really go in that direction.
I've got that in my hearings, it's about a week and a half old now, and they're capable of that. But I'm thinking you probably would have to sync them with it in order for them to hear and connect.
I need an interface, that came up with the computer, basically, the interface to the PA system. So you could pick it up.
So are we ready to switch over to 1A with a new
I
password?
guess, no. I have some border problems. But we'll go get there eventually. We have some, let's see, right now, I can explain it this way. Everybody in the city has, house address numbers.
Is that what?
House address numbers. They're unique by the number in the street. Okay? And that's kind of a parallel to what you call internet and a router. A router puts out addresses, certain types of addresses,
To each device.
like similar to like a street address.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, we have two routers, and they're not on the same addresses, but they're kind of in
The neighborhood.
they're in a little mini war about the addresses right now.
Who has
Trying to
ownership?
get that, fixed, so the address is the same, and all the devices on the network can see the addresses correctly. That's the best I can explain. It's,
Do we currently have the capability of people to view either via Facebook or some other media, a Sunday morning sermon?
Through the church website, Pastor Steve and I haven't posted mine from Sunday, but you can access the last 6 months of sermons on the church's website.
And so we're gonna see what was on the screen and we're gonna pick up the audio.
No, it's since Rick stepped down from all of that, we don't have the audio anymore. So it's just our written transcripts.
So, yeah, I know I've been in churches in Phoenix area with my daughter where
Mm-hmm.
people can access the sermon, the video and the audio.
Yeah, I've been looking at the idea of, I know a lot of churches, not a lot, but and a couple of colleagues of mine who have recently got into doing now that Facebook has a live streaming service, have started doing Facebook Live, where they stream their service live on Facebook, and then after it's over, it becomes a viewable video, much like YouTube. Like these classes that we do, I do YouTube live streaming, and then once it's over, then anyone can go back and watch it, whether you were here in class or if you missed it, you can go back and watch it. For me, it's painful to do that personally because it's me looking at myself for an hour. But if you forgot something and it was there in the class, then you can rewatch that segment of it. Or if you missed it, then you can watch the class. And so again, back to the original question, I have some colleagues who are doing Facebook Live and streaming the worship service. So that's a possibility that I'm just at the beginning stages of exploring and how to do it. And my biggest concern is doing it well. I don't want to just do it. I want to be able to do it well so that it's actually meaningful for people and that we've got the right people to be able to run it consistently every Sunday. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I got one more little question. I see where you guys use the internet all the time.
Mhm.
Might be part of your job. And on this Monday morning class, we all use it. But the rest of the weekend, the rest of this building, what's the internet use or the used for Wi-Fi. Cause they've gotta change your cell phones, is the people who are around here.
So what's your question exactly?
Well, why would, I can see separating out yours from ours.
Right.
Very good. But to have Wi-Fi through this entire building when we just are here, who else is using it?
The
See down
STARS
that-
program at the other end
Okay.
meets every Monday and Wednesday, and they use it all the
Okay.
time.
Okay.
The Sunday school classrooms on Sundays use them.
Okay.
During the Faith Acts productions, the Wi-Fi is used.
Okay.
And there's been several instances in which we've used it in the sanctuary during Sunday morning for various things. So there are times in which it is used, and I think we're just getting to a point where, and I'd love to see also a point where some people just come and want to hang out and just have the ability to access the internet. You know, if the
Yeah,
women
like
have a meeting
library.
at the other end of the building,
Yeah.
you know, let's say this space is being used by us and the women are meeting at the same time, then they don't have to say, well, now we can't use the internet. But they can go to the other end of the building and just have this use the internet also. So it's nice, and it's
Okay.
I think it's
But
a
if
great
you
way
sat
to
out here
live.
in these, if we were in here using it right now, and there was somebody sitting out here in this lounge area, couldn't they get the internet?
They could, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it just won't reach down to the auditorium area.
No. So, and that's why Mike's purchased several of them so that he
Okay.
can strategically place them. And like he said, he can adjust the range in which they go so that we can accurately place them and be as economical as possible about doing that also.
Mike,
So.
this isn't unique to our facility here, but I'm concerned that if I go on a public internet access, that somehow somebody can get into my computer and do bad things. Is that
No,
possible?
not normal. You have to, bear in mind, it's kind of like driving a car. You don't drive into potholes needlessly. You don't go to certain sites. If you get to a site, you want to be careful the content, and also your antivirus needs to be a good one because it'll warn you that you're in the wrong place. But if you don't have a good antivirus protection and your browser isn't kept up to date, then you're looking for a toothpick.
Are you asking the question that, or are you asking the question more like what we were talking about earlier? Is that somebody sitting out in the car could have their laptop on and start accessing this computer or the printer in here and so on?
Well, not so much his, but accessing mine. I mean,
Yeah.
For example, take you. I mean, we're sitting here, and could you get into my computer?
No,
Okay.
not easily.
But what you said earlier is that you could see what other people are doing. So if he were to go on Amazon, put in his password and his credit card number, could somebody else that knows what they're doing get that information because it's a Wi-Fi system?
That takes special software that is out there. But yes, they can see it. But normally, if you use an HTTPS, how it works is you access a website that you're going to buy something on. They send a number and it's encrypted. You don't see it happen, it happens,
Right.
boom. And that encrypted number is sent back to them. They unencrypt it with that other number, with the number they sent. So it's pretty tough to lose credit card information nowadays.
But lots of times when you go to a coffee shop and you go to buy something or whatever, or even my one of the banks I use, it'll tell you ask you a question about, are you in a public place or are you at home? Is that
Public places are bad because snoopers, is what they're called, are out there and they monitor those things for people they don't have a good password. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 or ABC. Those passwords are very poor. You should always have a password that's at least 6 or 7 characters long, a capital, a lowercase, a symbol if possible.
The number.
Yes, because if you don't have that, then the snooper can get in, look into what the stream that you're sending out, and you can press it. And
So they can't capture your password and then use it.
No, they can't, but they can hide something in what you're receiving and cause you difficulties.
So Mike, do they just sit there and start putting in simple passwords, ABC, 1, 2, 3?
No, it's all computerized.
So they've got a program that just is going down.
They
over
ran
that
and they
schedule.
just
That does,
First.
yeah, and does
Yeah,
thousands of calculations per
it's-
second.
It's all automated, and they put in the criteria that they want to go after. You want to be careful, you don't want to leave it on all the time, and at home, you don't want to leave your computer on all the time. It's just a poor security risk to do that.
Matter of fact, I have something that, on that line, you know, as most of you know, I got hacked. Somebody figured out my password for my MSN account. And, you know, one thing they did, they wiped out all my contacts and other things. But the thing that was interesting, and I worked with tech support in India, of course. The second guy, you know, he couldn't. I was not receiving emails. I could tell because I get certain emails every day, and they weren't coming into my system. And the second guy, he spent an hour and he couldn't figure it out, and he said he was going to call me back on Saturday, which he didn't do. Well, here about last week after this class, actually, I finally bit the bullet again and said, okay, I'm going to talk to India again. Well, this person had much better English. But when I told him what the situation was, he knew immediately what the problem was. What happened is they got into my MSN account, they went to options, and they went down to the forwarding. You can forward emails to somebody else. What they did, they created an account that all my emails were forwarding into their account. And so he said, yeah, normally that's what a lot of hackers do. So I pass it on to people because if you ever get hacked, that's probably one of the first things you should check. Go into your options and down on the left side or someplace in there, it will show whether your emails are being forwarded.
So I have the ability to forward emails from this computer to Susan's
Yeah,
computer.
right. Or
Well,
yeah.
not computer, email address to email address.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I mean,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
could forward to a
Mhm.
different email address.
Right. For example, the one that the church gives the staff, I have mine personally. I have forwarded to my Gmail one, so I don't actually check the staff one. It gets forwarded to, and so I just all get it in the same location instead
But I
of
passed that
checking
on
multiple
because
accounts.
that was, you know, the third guy, he can do exactly it. It would have saved me lots of headache. Because I
Time.
was trying to solve the problem and figure it out.
That's good to know. Yeah, I gave you other suggestions, but
But
that one hadn't crossed my
And
mind.
You know what the guy was after? Getting their email addresses and then watching their email to get data.
Yeah, well, most of those emails that he was getting wasn't, because the only emails I was getting was junk that would slide on
Oh,
into the junk file.
copy that.
Yeah, but anyway, I share that for, if you hear of somebody that's recently hacked, that's something they should check immediately.
Because I got an email from him, and I remember I phoned him.
Yeah.
Because I was concerned, and he straight up said, I got hacked. Well, there was no conversation. But me, with him, these other people sending me, this is, which bringing, I don't know where this is in this conversation. They got my email. Does that mean they're hacking my email now?
Well, if they've got it, they've already hacked it.
No,
Well,
I meant.
They have the name because they hacked my contact list.
Right, so they have access to everyone that Bill has in his saved contacts, and they know that all of those are valid email addresses, and so they either will use them or they will sell them for monetary purposes.
No, well, but does that mean then when I send an email out, because they know mine, I'm hacked?
if you have a strong password. They have
So they still have to do the password to do it.
Yeah, just because they hacked bills and have your email address, they don't have any other information
Oh,
other than that.
But you might be getting a lot more spam.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I'm getting.
yeah. You either have more spam and or your email address has been sold to people who will spam you.
Yeah.
Because valid email addresses are,
That's good.
I don't know
Yeah.
why, but are a valuable market for spammers.
Well,
So they're willing to.
most of the sites that are security conscious, when you forget your password, they use your email address to get your reset your new address. So it's an important thing.
Yeah. Also, so is what are they calling it? Two-factor authentication. So if you have a cell phone, then not only if you forget it, or even if you're signing in on a different device you've never signed in before, they will send you a text message with a security code, a
Yes.
6-digit security code. Set that up, because if someone hacks your account, they can they can attempt to log in, but if they don't have that 6-digit code, because they're logging in from a new device, then that's a second step, two-factor, two-step authentication. So they still can't get into your account because they can't get that security code that's being sent to your phone.
Mike, is the Apple system any less susceptible to viruses?
It just hasn't been as out there like the PCs are. The PCs are in a business network where a lot of competitions are done. Apple really doesn't have as much of the market as the PCs do. So that's PCs were where all the hackers started, and in the first go around, Apple was not intended but for graphics and that, so there wasn't a lot of financial gain to be made hacking Apple.
And just I'm not saying you don't realize this, but having an email account on your computer, and whether it's an Apple or a PC, them hacking that is separate from them hacking the actual operating system. So, because your email account is probably through Gmail or through Yahoo or through Microsoft, and so that's separate and not related to what operating system you're running. Yep.
And again, this is kind of all in the same park, I think. I have a Gmail account.
Mm-hmm.
I need help to get my Yahoo account from my business account from you. You're going to have to help me one of these days.
Just say no.
One of these days. But I have one of those in my business account, which I still can't get into. But I have a Yahoo account, which everybody I've talked to says is the worst thing in the world to have, because it's been hacked so badly, which is probably why I can't get into my business account.
Probably.
Because I already know that I've got stuff from somewhere else, and I'm going, what is this? Is my Gmail account any safer?
Only safer in the essence that it's not. I mean, there's confirmed that at least, I want to say 2 billion Yahoo accounts were hacked.
Yes.
And Gmail hasn't had a mass breach like that. Are they less susceptible? I don't know. Maybe. My guess would be maybe or probably, because it hasn't happened, so they're probably taking greater security measures. And from what I've read, the reason why it happened to Yahoo is because Yahoo decided not to pay or put the effort or the personnel into their security department. And as we've heard before with like with the credit card breaches through Target and all these different companies, and then they say, oh well, here's a year of online identity protection. It's actually cheaper for them to, after the fact, give you a year of identity protection than it is for them to proactively protect your information.
Nice. Thanks, guys.
Yes, it's a financial decision.
What's the value to these hackers of selling my email address? I would think that legitimate businesses would not be buying that on what I'd call the black market.
Right. I honestly don't know the ins and outs of why it is. I just know that for whatever reason, valid email addresses are a profitable business. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I mean, I get spam in my spam folder all the time, and I don't know if that's generating revenue for them, even if I don't click on it. I don't know, but I just do know that it's profitable for them. So, yep.
Well, we were over in Wenatchee over the weekend, and I'm all of a sudden getting ads appearing about businesses around me in Wenatchee.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, how in the world does that happen? They know where I am. Apparently.
Yep. Well, if you turn on location-based services, whether it's on your phone or your laptop, whenever I visit, whenever I go to Google on my phone, it always says Google would like to access your location for better services, and I always click no. And so they approximate my location down in Olympia, which obviously we're not. And so that's the best guess that they get. But if you say yes, and when you say yes, it's only a one-time thing. You say no, you got to do it. You got to say no every time. But if you say yes, then you're just giving them carte blanche permission to access your location, which you can reset if you go into the Google settings. But they do that, and then so you're over in Leavenworth, and suddenly you're getting ads for the bakery down the street, and
Exactly.
and the quilt shop, and etc.
Candle shop.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, which is if you Google search something multiple times, you will start getting, then you go and visit, like Best Buy's website. Then they've got those little ads on the side. You'll start seeing ads for whatever it is you recently looked at, and that's because Google keeps tabs on what you've researched and want to continue to feed you that information. And when you click on it, it's revenue. It's they call it AdSense, and it generates money for them if you click on that ad, because that company is paying Google to have that ad. And so you click on that, and Google gets the money that because their advertising paid off for that company. Yep.
So, and I'm just referencing, if you go someplace else and it comes up and it says Google says, and I say no, but I've already said that no here. I have to always just keep saying no.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like yes, it doesn't matter.
Nope. I said on my laptop at home, or my iPad at home, let's say I go to Google and I start searching that session, it'll ask me once. But if I were to close out Google and then open it again 5 minutes later, it will then ask me again if I want to use, if they can use my location to provide better accuracy.
Okay.
So for example, if I'm looking for a laundromat or the closest gas station, they want your location so that they can offer the best for you. So all I do is I just then add my location at the end, gas stations, Leavenworth, Washington, and then it'll provide the local gas stations in the area. It won't provide the closest to my exact pinpointed location, but then I'm not giving Google my exact location all the time. So that's one workaround for it, and then
What
that's
you can open the incognito.
yeah, incognito or private browsing.
Then, because if you're looking for airfare,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Yep.
keep hitting it, they actually have.
Then they're not tracking your
Well,
browsing
they're not
history.
tracking. Plus, they know that he wants to go to San Francisco, and all of a sudden the prices start rising.
Yes.
Literally, they can control the information you get based on because of the multiple searches
Request, yes.
rather than
Right.
incognito. Then it looks like this is the first time you get in.
So how do you do the incognito so that doesn't occur? Because I
There's an option.
that's in Google.
Yeah, I don't know if it's under. I think you go to File or.
Is that in Chrome?
It's in Chrome. Yeah, incognito is Chrome. For Safari, it's called private browsing. So if you click up here, new private window, and see it looks different. And it says private browsing enabled. Safari will keep your browsing history private for all the tabs in this window. After you close this window, Safari won't remember the pages you visited, your search history, or your autofill information.
That's Safari that does it.
Yeah. Well, but if you use Chrome, their incognito mode is essentially does the same thing.
So I'm at Chrome right now,
Yep.
their home screen.
Well, so you would click on the file, either Chrome or file. Probably go to file.
You got Safari.
New incognito window. And then they are no longer. Your own browser is not tracking your information or storing it. So, you know, when you go up to history and you can see where you searched earlier that day or last week, that's because your browser tracks that. And by going on the incognito mode, then it's not tracking it at that time that you're doing that. So, on a tablet, you would click on Safari. You would click on the double little windows in the bottom. Well, for the iPad, it would be in the upper right corner, I believe. So there's two squares on top of each other when you're in Safari on your phone or your tablet. And
Yes.
you click that, and that shows you all of your open tabs. And then on the left-hand side in the bottom, it says private.
Mine just is shrinking the screen down.
Yep, but then on the bottom left-hand side, it should say, you should have a word that says private, a little plus button to open a new tab, and the word done.
Oh, so it says Google Plus?
You must not be in.
Mine is up here.
Wait. If I hit that, and I do this,
Yep.
it shrinks.
Well, and maybe it's on the top. I don't.
Mine was in the upper right. But, when I-
I've got Apple Display, ESPN, Yahoo.
Did you open Safari? Or you in Google?
No,
Open Safari.
not the square with the arrow. The two squares.
With the double square, okay.
Yeah, the double square.
Then there's private.
Yep.
There.
And
Sorry, they're They're positioned differently on the phone from the iPad.
So then I
It's
did
on Safari.
private. And
Yep.
It's got private browsing mode.
Yep.
For tabs in private.
Yep, and it explains what it's doing.
then
It's not tracking your history. It's not tracking your cookies. It's not tracking your autofill information. So if you've got autofill for passwords or for credit card information, if you use that, it's not going to store it.
Okay, so then I would push done.
Yep, and then you just start browsing in that way.
Oh, so then that stops anybody else from getting into making me do
Oh, that's-
so you're just
no.
starting a new browsing.
You're starting a new
doing
browsing
research.
session that you are not tracking yourself and you're not having Safari keep information.
You have to reinitiate that each time.
Yeah, but at least it keeps your
Yeah.
browsing history clean.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing right now, I'm looking at aluminum vessel I'm looking at buying.
Right.
So that's all been cleared off of there now, so.
No, it's not. No. That's different. You have to, if you've been doing that in a regular browser, then you have to go to your browsing history and clear it
Yes.
manually.
And the cookies.
Yep. So you go to history, go down to the bottom that says clear history, and then clear all history, and then click the clear button.
Oh,
And then that clears your browsing history for as long as you've been browsing with that device.
oh, where it says.
But then it starts over as soon as you do a new
Ho-
search.
Hopefully.
Well, yes, hopefully.
We really want to get there, we get the real.
Sure.
But yeah, that's the best I can do.
So now if I want to go back and find where it was before, I need to start it all over again.
Yep. Because
then
you've
that's
just
not-
erased everything that you've done.
Right.
So that's why people don't do private browsing, because they want to have,
No, I haven't.
and if you clear your history, so let's say I start typing in Not that it would take that long, but if I were to go to my Gmail on the web browser and I type in gmail.com, as soon as I type Gmail is probably the most visited website that starts with a G. It'll automatically start bringing that up. You've probably seen that before. That's because of your history. Once you erase that history, that goes away. And once you erase your cookies, if you've got that password saved, you're going to have to re-enter your password to get back into your Gmail account or your Hotmail account or whatever it is. Yeah. That stuff is stored for convenience, but then it's also stored, which means it's potentially accessible.
Doesn't Firefox doesn't store the password in cookies, I don't believe.
I think they changed that.
Yeah, the cookies are just trouble.
Yes. Yep, cookies are still a big thing, but they're doing a better job websites are doing a better job of warning people if the website uses cookies. And cookies are just little bits of information to help load the website faster. So if you're going to a website that's graphically intensive, it's got a lot of pictures, a lot of different things like that, but it's the same every time you visit it, then those cookies bring that information up fast because they're stored on your computer. And then it reloads all of the new information from the website so that when you visit the website, it loads fast. So part of it is your internet connection, but part of it is the fact that you've got cookies from that website stored with the base information, the static information on there. So there's a convenient side, but then if it stores other information like your username and your password, then that's the potential downside of that as well. Yep. All right. Are we thoroughly confused about passwords and cookies and browsing histories yet? Good. All right.
Good job.
My pleasure. So something I did recently, and I wish I could show this better, and I can't because so when I'm working on certain things, like especially sermons for Sunday or bulletins, I've got multiple windows open. I've got my Bible software program open. I've got Word open. I've usually got Safari open, all at the same time because I'm trying, we have the picture that we've got in the bulletin each week, and so I'm trying to find that and insert that, and copying and pasting the Bible readings over. And I've also got another Word document open because I'm copying, looking at what hymns the committee picked for the hymns that week, etc. And so I've been thinking more and more lately about a second monitor, so that you've got two monitors open at the same time, and they're not that expensive, but it's quite an investment to get a second monitor. And so then you plug it in, and then you can have two monitors hooked up, and you can have
Two or three, maybe.
2 or 3 or more. I recently saw a setup that had 5 monitors up, and so yes.
This is a question right with what you're saying. I've tried to put this to a monitor, and I can't make it marry. Is there a direction that I'm missing? I got my plugins right here, the little plug-in,
Yeah.
and I got the cord to the monitor.
You need this.
That's a dongle, right?
It is.
Yeah, I know that.
What's
It's a dongle.
100 points for Susan.
It's actually an HDMI.
Yep.
But
So
I-
this plugs. This is the lightning part that plugs into your iPad as if you were charging it.
Yes.
And then on this side, it has another lightning so that you can charge it while you're using the device, because this is taking the port that charges it. And then this is an HDMI port. And so if I plug this into here, and then I take the HDMI cable that's plugged into the TV that was showing my computer, I then plug it into my phone, and now we've got my phone on the screen, or
So that
iPad. I
means
could
I
plug
can-
it in the iPad too.
So I could do that to my TV then.
Yes.
Yep.
All you need is an HDMI cable and this little dongle.
No, you need a dongle.
So what does a monitor give you that a TV wouldn't?
In your example.
In my example, sometimes I recently hooked up a computer at home to our old, well, it's not old, but our older TV. It's still flat screen, and the color and the resolution and there's pixelation. It's just I don't know the ins and outs of it. I haven't taken the time to look it up, but there's something in the refresh rates and all of that it just doesn't work.
Yeah, a 4K
outright.
TV.
It might, yeah. And so and I noticed I've done 2 different computers to that same TV, and you probably would have to buy a really high-end TV, and TVs are designed differently. Otherwise, people would just buy monitors and use them as their
In the
TV.
monitor, I mean, other than the resolution issues, the difference that there's not a tuner in a monitor. You're buying a tuner with the TV.
Yeah. Yep. And with smart TV, then you go down the rabbit hole.
HDMI has a certain specification for clarity in the cables. The cables are usually not more than 6 feet. They are somewhat fragile, so you don't want to ever bend them. On a
D.
or
HDMI, high definition media interface.
They also have a speed rating.
HDMI.
So
And this thing's like $39, I believe. But if you've got the Apple TV, this takes the place of that. Wirelessly. This is a wired option, and buying an Apple TV is a wireless option, so that this can just mirror to your.
So then I don't need that to put my iPad, because I already got the Apple thing. They say, I don't need that then.
No.
Oh.
Yep. AirPlay. It's called AirPlay. So I was looking at other options, and I found a program that you can get on your iPad. I don't think it's for Android. I don't know 100% sure. But it's called, and it works for Windows or Mac, so you don't have to worry about having a Mac laptop. So if you've got a Windows PC, this works as well. And the program is called Duet. So Duet Display. And what that does is it turns, so I'm plugged in with my charging cable into my Mac via the USB port. And I now have this set up as a second monitor. So I'm watching, this is the class on how it's showing on the, if anyone's watching it right now. So I can look here for comments and other things, and when I'm doing other work, I can have all of that up on a second. So basically I'm using my iPad as a second monitor.
So how do you tell it you've got 2 words and Google and whatever, and you got 4 or 5 things open and you want Word right here in front of you because that's what you're working with?
Yeah.
How do you tell all that other stuff to go to the other monitor?
So
Stay there.
Yep. So this little D up here if you look up here where I just clicked, that's little D, that's little icon for, and it'll work a little differently on a PC. It'll be down in the bottom corner where programs are. But I have this, so there's 2 options. You can have it as an extended display where it really is a second monitor, and then you can have it as a mirrored display, and mirroring means what I do here is also done here, which is what plugging into HDMI is doing. This is mirroring that. Extending means you've got an extra. So you want to make sure it's on extend display, and then display arrangement. And so I have got it set up so that the extra display, which is this little box right here, is on my left. And so, because you can have it left or right, up or down, you can have it any quadrant you want. And so all you do is you take the window that you want, so let's say we want this, I just drag it to the left. And it is now showing up over here after it adjusts.
But
So you don't have
your other stuff isn't, nothing else is going over there.
No. Only the things that I've dragged over to that window or to that monitor will show up on that monitor. The things that I leave here, anything new, this is still considered my main monitor. You can adjust that also, but this is set up as my main monitor. So anything new that I open will automatically open on my main monitor, my main display.
But if you had a Word document in both of them, and you started typing, it'll default to the main one.
Yes. Well, and you also, if I'm clicking over on this display, then this display is, the menu bar at the top is lit up, whereas over here is grayed out. So you know that you're working in this monitor at this moment. But if I were to click over here and
How
then
do you
this
click
lights up.
over there to get your mouse to go over to here?
you just drag it left until you see it show up on the other monitor.
Oh, okay. So dragging your mouth over, it'll just go to here.
It'll
instead,
just
and
yep.
then
It's,
it'll
once
bang.
it hits, it knows that there's a second
Yep.
monitor hooked
Yep.
up, and so then it just keeps going. Instead of
Okay.
without it plugged in, it would just hit the edge of the screen and
Right.
stop.
Right.
So if you ever try that, it just hits the screen and
Right.
stops. And so I just drag my mouse over, and now my mouse is over here. And then I click somewhere. I can click on a new Safari window, and then start typing here. I'm no longer typing on the iPad because it's just a monitor at the moment.
Right.
And so whatever I type here, even though
Goes to the
it
other
goes
one.
to the other screen, because it's just another monitor is what it's acting like. Yep.
On that screen.
So if that's, you can always buy another monitor. I just thought, and it was on sale. I think it's on sale for $10 right now.
That screen.
So for $10, instead of spending, $2, $3, I mean, you can spend less, but if you want a decent monitor, you want to spend about $200. And so it's not as big as a large monitor, but for $10, I now have my iPad, which I already owned, as a second monitor. So it just kind of made sense to me, and it's been working well. There are I emailed them a bug, and they know about it, and they're working on it. But overall, it works pretty well. And I've been
Actually, two monitors work well.
Maybe you're not on
When I was working, I used two monitors a lot.
mm-hmm.
Get your email up on one and
Yep.
do the mail work on the other.
Yep.
It's a
Then you don't have to minimize and then reopen or close it and then reopen it. You can just have things side by side.
So if you were to drag your email over to here.
Yep.
And you're working on this one, and an email comes in, will it automatically go to that one and
Yep.
ding or whatever?
Yep. You hear the ding from these
Yeah.
speakers, or if you've got external speakers, you'll still hear the ding, but then everything about that will happen on that monitor. Yep. Everything will be specific to the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 monitors. So if you've got Safari open here, your email open here, type in on Safari here, emails will show up here, etc. So I can be over here and look for images, while over here I'm typing in the Sunday Bulletin, and then I can find the image that I want and then drag it over instead of minimizing and resizing or putting them side by side, especially on a laptop with limited real estate for what you can see. Having another monitor is really helpful. Yep.
How do I get mail from you?
Well, you got to give me your email address.
I
I told you last week too, and we never got that far.
thought we did that last week.
Nope. I asked you for it, but I think we got distracted.
Sorry.
Nope, that's fine.
Well, I'm trying on Faith Lutheran, and I'm going, how do we get to the page you're on? I can't get there. I keep going, what's going on here?
I got her. I'm downloading.
Yeah, but you get email from him. I don't.
No, it does not have anything to do with email.
Which part? Who's watching class? Don't do it. I know I'm not the only one, but I hate listening to myself.
What, are you mumbling?
I hate listening to myself. So where's your email? Oh, email. What's your email, Richard?
My name, Richard Knight. All little letters.
Yep.
Spelled with a K.
Yep.
62, the number, Richard Knight 62.
Yep.
At gmail.com. I know we did this once. I think.
Well, now you're in there. So now you'll get my weekly emails.
So does that mean I'm gonna get something from you that you've already sent out, or don't you have to wait till the next time you come?
Just come until next time. But if you go to YouTube and type in Tech for God, but I was creative and I turned the E in tech a 3, and 4 is just the number 4, and the O and G in God is just a 0.
I'm not listening anymore.
Then you can find the YouTube channel of this class, if you ever feel like looking back at them.
I don't even know how to do that and any of that stuff. I don't even know where YouTube is on here, if it's even.
Go to youtube.com or you download the app.
Learn one thing at a time.
So the archive of those things, how come
Yes.
that's not on the church website?
Of my classes,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it'd be easy to do.
It would be easy
That's
to
one
do.
more thing.
Yeah, we could put it up
It
there.
could go where the council minutes used to go, since they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
Why is that?
We could have our tech manager put it on.
Because we don't have a permanent
There's a lot of
treasurer,
extra-
or not treasurer, secretary.
So they're not
So-
doing council minutes.
They do council minutes.
They're just hiding them.
They're hiding. Not hiding them, not
Transparency's
intentionally.
gone away.
They made announcements on Sunday.
Some of us can't hear those announcements. Did you know that?
Yes.
Some of us don't have good hearing.
But we know that there's
She
a
was
system
right,
they can
talking
use,
into that.
right?
I don't hear. I have no hearing almost here. I've only got 65% here. I don't want to hear.
I have these things
Mine's at home in a box. The battery's dead.
on.
So I'm on YouTube. I typed in YouTube for iPad, and I have this many.
Well, but go to the App Store.
I am.
You're in the App Store?
Yes.
Well, then
I
you
have
want
this-
you want the one that's from Google or YouTube as the company. You don't want any of the third-party ones.
YouTube gaming.
Nope, you don't want YouTube unless you want to watch video game
No.
streamers.
I don't want any of that stuff. So I go YouTube to what?
Just YouTube.
None of
It
this
should
is
just be
there.
called YouTube, and it should be from either the YouTube company or because Google owns them, it might be under the Google Inc. It always tells you on the App Store, it always tells you the name of the app and then the company that makes it. And so you want to look for YouTube, and you want to look for, it's probably Google now, so you probably want to look for Google Inc. Another thing, let's see. Apple, I don't know if anyone will find this interesting, but Apple recently came out with a new app for their phone and iPad called Clips, where you can record videos really quick and edit them, and it's just a quick, easier version of than iMovie. iMovie is kind of middle of the road. I would not say it's a good program, but I would not say it's a great program. Well, what's that program? Anyway, there's like a $300 program you can get for Macs that is like premium video editing, but
Is Clip a free one? Or?
yeah, it's free from Apple. But it lets you apply filters. Like I took a video of Aubrey, and it you just click a button and it turned it into a cartoon. So the allergy commercials where they have it's real people talking, but they've been animated with kind of a crass kind of drawing style. It's that kind of a filter. So you just click the button and it automatically does that for you. And then you can add little captions that pop up during the video and things like that, or little animations on top of it. So if you feel like snazzing up your pre-existing videos, it's simple, which is I think what they were going for. iMovie gets a little more complicated, whereas this is just push a button, type some text, and send it off, and you're good to go. So we're out of time, but more iPhone 8 rumors if anyone's interested in the new iPhone.
And those rumors are?
So they're turning the cameras vertical instead of horizontal, and it looks like they're using Samsung's